Hey there. It is, this is the log for day 10. I have slept and done stuff since, but not stuff programming. So, we're actually on the start of day 11, but, this was supposed to be created at the end of day 10. I was just so exhausted after streaming. I'm going to make sure that the stream that I did, gets uploaded onto YouTube, and I'm definitely going to be looking at, setting up, YouTube live streams alongside Twitch. Don't know how that's going to go because Restream.io is a little bit down at the moment, but I have enough upload bandwidth to potentially be able to upload the same thing twice, so I will do what I can, and maybe we'll get some YouTube live streams in addition to the Twitch ones. Okay, cool. So you can see up on the screen now what the day's goals were, which I actually can't read, but work on completing the design document. Cool. And attempt cave generation. Cool. Let me show you what I did. Let me take that text off the screen. You don't need to see that. We can show off our mining game design document, our GDD, as it were. So this we created from a series of dot points which we had set aside for to flesh out whilst we were creating. So I got a little document on my second monitor showing 12 dot points to dev for, basically. And so these are some of those dot points fleshed out, such as players will be able to mine and generate new ores based on random chance. Who would have thought? It's a mining game, that's kind of what you do, sort of thing. Then the biomes and so on and so forth. And as you can see, some of these things I haven't really spoken about, such as the trophy room, where ores they have discovered are stored, rebirthing and loot crates and all that sort of jazz. And teamwork and cool stuff. So what I'll do is I will link to this document and let you check it out and read it. And whenever it's updated, I'll try and remember to supply a link to it for you guys to be able to read. Cool. Let's get out of there and into the game. What is the dinosaur test? What the frack? Okay, so Dinosaur test is going to look a little bit wonky, but we're going to jump into it and we're going to show off what we've been doing. Okay, so what is this? What is all this? It's terrible. Actually, I wonder if I can shift everything down now successfully. Let's just jump in. Okay, so imagine that this is below, like one layer down from where it currently is. Just ignore the fact that it's on there. Everything else in the game has been working in the way that you'd expect. We've got our generation script. I think it's only running on gold ore at the moment. Yep, so that extra block was generated. And it's back to a reasonable level, so you're not going to see crazy, awesome tentacles of awesomeness for when we which is available on the live server, which I will show off. But the goal is, and this is sort of one of the things that I wanted to do in the game, is what happens when we want to sort of have teamwork, okay? So there's a couple of different ways that we're going to be tackling teamwork, but one of the ways we're going to be tackling teamwork are you're going to stumble across something that looks no different, okay? But this thing will be generated, and it'll be spawned, it'll be cloned in, but it'll have a chance based on the same sort of chance of, the gold and stuff like that, except much rarer. Now, when this thing comes in, if it can spawn, and it'll try its best to spawn, then what will happen is it will basically go, okay, we need to create this. Let's create it, and maybe there'll be like a little noise, a little screen shake, a little something to let you know that you've like something around you is is important and has generated and is changed. And then if you mine, what the heck is that? Right? Like, well, this is a bad example, but let's say we were 1 up and we mined that instead. Okay? Well, unfortunately, it's going to be really obvious what that is, but let's imagine that it's a skeleton rather than an actual real dinosaur. And these levels take 2 clicks currently because of the biome generation inside them. But the idea being that each of these blocks... oh yeah, cool. I made them... Oh, I was like, oh yeah, cool. I made them... they're still on not cancelled. Yeah, except that there was nothing underneath them. So basically, what'll happen is these blocks will actually take significantly more to mine than your general block. And when they are, when you mine all of the blocks, which house the, yeah, it's, so when you, and by you, I really mean it's going to be a team effort. It's not going to be something that you'll probably be able to do by yourself. So when everyone has finished mining it out, so in this case, we would have these 3. Yeah, perfect. So at the point where that last block is destroyed, yes, at the point where that last block there was destroyed, this dinosaur would basically disappear. Anyone who participated in unearthing it will get this in their trophy room, and it will be pretty awesome, basically. And that's pretty much it. You'll also get like a huge amount of money. And the amount of money that you get will be based on, like it'll also be enhanced by having mined more of the object. So a dinosaur skeleton is just a for instance. That doesn't mean that that's what we're going to use. It's just what I used in my personal game design document to sort of remind myself like how to do the thing. So for instance, it's a fabric layer, right? You might come across, let's do some kind of pop culture reference. Okay, we don't know pop culture references. We'll come across like a giant stuffed cactus. Let's like a cactuar from Final Fantasy, but without the obvious copyright infringement. Or it's possible instead that what I'll do is I will have a bunch of objects, and the same object can spawn in multiple biomes, but it will look different. It'll be skinned differently depending on the biome. That may be easier and what we end up eventually going with, but it's not what we want to go with. So yeah, that's man, I know that sounds like it's not much, but one of the things that we did behind the scenes was we learnt module script. So we've got our table check now in what's called a module script. So this can be accessed by anything. And because it's accessed by anything, it's not currently accessed by biome generation, which is why the biome generated in the way that it did. But basically, this is now called in block generation. So we've got, where is it? So we do the initial calls for it here, like, hey, we're going to need this. And then we further down here, oh yeah, okay, yeah, our veins don't quite work yet, but let's ignore the vein. No, okay, I think the veins do work. Block present. Anyway, yeah, so block present equals table check, and so we've done this thing where we sort of hacked it in and just sort of said, wait, what? Oh, right, yeah. block present. Let me show you table check. So rather than stripping out this function, instead what we sort of did was we kept the function in, and inside the function was the call. So we call the function, but we don't need to do that. It's just lazy. We'll fix that up. But for now, we've done it this way. So instead of all this code, as you can see, we've commented that out. I know it's not commented out the proper way, but it was just for testing purposes. And we'll probably be removing that pretty shortly. But yeah, so we learnt that. The other thing that we learnt was region 3. Oh man, region 3. Region 3. Region 3 was not a lot of fun. And the reason for it not being a lot of fun was me partially not understanding it. I had set up various region 3s and they were never working, and I couldn't figure out why. And I don't think I ended up watching a video on it, which is probably my downfall. I just wanted to sort of experiment with it based on the wiki. So the problem was that this is an ideal region 3 number. Okay, but if we switch positions with this 3 and this -9, which still, in theory, if you use those 2 points, will still make a region 3 in the exact same place at the exact same size. Don't ask me why it then doesn't work. It will it will create a region. It won't create a region 3 if you've done that, because all of these first numbers need to be the smallest numbers, and all of these numbers need to be the largest numbers. Okay, and if you screw that up, it doesn't throw an error. Yay! Don't output an error or anything, even though the script can clearly tell that one of these numbers isn't lower than the other number. Just don't work. Cool. That's useful. That's useful. So, and the thing is, that's the other worst thing, right? Is that it reads like it is working. So, so that's fun, right? Like, you can then make the region and then ask if the region is empty, and then the region empty will always say true, because the region doesn't exist. Okay, so yeah. Okay, instead it should return nil or something like that, but it doesn't. I think the reason why it doesn't, and this is just a thought that I have, is that as long as at least 2 values are correct, it will still create a region 3. I don't know how. I seriously have no idea how it was returning true. But yeah, it cost us like an hour and a half of frustration. But yeah, we've got this working. We still need to use this region 3. Now that we've got region 3s working, I'm very comfortable that caves will probably take about an hour just to get set up. Yeah, that's basically it. So yeah. Well, as you can see, we pull in this table check here as well. So that's why when we were mining around the dinosaur, it worked fine. We also could mine the dinosaur despite the dinosaur existing in its own section. And that's because back in the mining activated script, we've switched the target to be initial blocks or dino skeleton. Eventually, this will be like starter blocks or advanced or special blocks, which will be a folder, 2 folders that things jump into and out of. Maybe not starter blocks, because that's pretty much exactly the same as initial blocks. Generic blocks, so things like all the ores that we know the game's going to generate. And then the special blocks or special ores or special whatever we call them will be like for all of the really cool advanced things such as caves and dungeons and teamwork requiring dinosaur skeletons. Pretty cool. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to hang out on Twitch, I'm about to start Twitch streaming pretty much 20 minutes from the time this goes live, and I don't know how long we'll be streaming for today. I've got a couple of other things that I want to do today, but it should be pretty cool. We had a lot of fun last time, and it made development go a little bit slower than if I was doing things solo, but also a little bit faster. So, in some ways, right? Because like there were people there who could troubleshoot things when things weren't working, and then there were other people, but at the same token, people want to see what I'm doing and how it works, which is fine. I have no problems with that. So yeah, the thing that we're going to work on now is generating the skeleton in a position. We have an idea for how we're doing that. We're going to finish doing that. Then we're going to move on to testing the same thing, but having made a couple of caves. Then what I'd really like to do is try a dungeon, but we're not going to. That's a little too advanced. That's definitely something that we can do post-launch. It doesn't need to be in there when the game releases. And what we're going to do from there is basically just work further down on the game development script. Possibly do some more actual design elements, getting things into position and doing everything that way. The other thing is that there are servers for this live. I will have the links for those also in the description. Okay, that's it. 16 minutes. We're slowly getting these shorter. Good work, me. I will see you next time.